One of my reels went viral and I was waiting for things to happen. Unfortunately, nothing happened and all I got was views.
Maybe we'll never be able to find a manufacturer. All of this scare, all of these fears that we as millennials we usually have, we don't allow ourselves to be wrong. I was not confident anymore in myself. I was not confident in my product anymore. I was like, oh, maybe no one needs it. My marketing strategy was start with a Kickstarter and then go viral on TikTok. If you launch something and if you start a business, you need to have as many plans, marketing plans, and marketing strategies as you can.
I thought like I would be able to launch within 6 months or 8 months, and it's been 1.5 years. I have not been able to launch. Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of Chai and
Champagne.
Champagne. I'm your host, Neha, the founder of Naya and Coco, a skincare brand for kids and babies designed specially for millennial and Gen Z parents, and also the co founder of Pro Bites Co., a healthy snacking brand made from clear and organic ingredients. And I'm here with my co host and dear friend, Elena.
Hi, I'm Elena. I'm founder of My Be Bear, a company doing potty training and nighttime underwear that I invented for my daughter when she was 2 years old. It got her out of diapers in a matter of a month, and now I launched my business after being lawyer for almost 10 years. And I launched my business last year.
Great journey.
It was it was a hectic one, and you will see that.
Well, talking about your journey, last episode, we promised that we are going to talk about all the screw ups that we did along our journey. And I want to know, Alina, your top three screw ups or, mistakes. I would not necessarily say mistakes, but top three regrets or things that you thought you could have done in a different way that you would like to highlight today.
Absolutely. And if we are only to pick up three, it's a hard
Tough
thing. It's a
choice.
tough choice to
Yeah.
pick up only three because of course during the entrepreneurship journey you will do a lot of mistakes. But if I am to pick up three, I think the number one, and I kind of talked about it last time, kind of launching through the platform that was not designated for my launch, and my launch was not, I think, at least what I feel, my launch was not as spectacular or efficient as I wished it to be. So I launched my product through Kickstarter. And at a pretty late stage, I realized that this platform was actually not designed for my type of product, which is kind of urgency product, which you need now and not in like in immediate sense and not in few months as it is usually for the Kickstarter products. And the reason I regret it is Kickstarter, when you start like building around it, you pour a lot of efforts into building awareness around this platform. So when I started to build my page for the Kickstarter. Of course, it took me a lot of time to like really, build nice page with a video, to do like a nice video, to do nice photos, to do nice cards for the Kickstarter. Then I started to drive traffic to the Kickstarter. So when I was doing some videos or some posts on the Instagram, TikTok, on other platform, I was driving lots of traffic towards Kickstarter. And thing that I realized after that you do not have like the customer base that Kickstarter kind of you only have the information about those who backed you, but those who probably subscribe to your page, I haven't seen those information. So this is a kind of a customer base that I've lost. And I felt that I put so much effort into building this page, building awareness about this platform and around this platform, which didn't perform for me as I wished it to perform. And I know my screw ups on this side. I know that, first of all, of course, it's the fact that my product was not suitable. The second reason, I think also I didn't pour as much money as I should have, because again, Kickstarter in 2016 was an easy platform where you just put your project and people would back you and you don't need to go through agency, you don't need to pay for ads or anything, because it was a platform where the new businesses would raise money for launching. Now, Kickstarter is a huge platform, and every day there are so many products being launched. And without support of a marketing agency, to whom you pay, by the way, and you pay a lot,
Mm.
and without support of ads, it's difficult, very, very difficult to to gain awareness and to get to the results that you wish. So I think this is like one of the reasons that I really regretted my launch is launching through Kickstarter. I'm sure that if I poured my efforts elsewhere, I could have done much better. And I think if I were to redo it again, I would build a lot more around building in public sequences, something that I was really scared to do. I think it's like millennial trauma, I see lots of Gen Z, they're not scared to say like I'm building this, that and that, and they don't have product anymore, but they're just saying like they're telling everyone everything they're doing. And I was just so scared to do that because I was scared that something will go wrong, that probably my product will not be up to the level of my expectations. And if not, then I will not be able to launch it. Maybe I will never be able to find a manufacturer. All of this scare, all of these fears that we as millennials we usually have, we don't allow ourselves to be wrong, right? Everything needs to be spotless. And I think this really prevented me to build in public and gain this awareness around my brand that I should have had before launching. But regardless of that, like I'm glad that I launched, I got some good orders, I got some good support, and I realize that now actually I'm launching now more than before because now the traction that was built up is starting to really go. So yeah, I think this is my number one regret or screw up. I don't know how to call it, but this was something that I kind of rethink and think I would have done differently. My second screw up, and I think it kind of goes in line with the first one, I think I underestimated a lot marketing. A
Mm.
lot. So my marketing strategy, which is not marketing strategy after all, but my marketing strategy was start with a Kickstarter and then go viral on TikTok. I know. Don't throw rocks to me. I was so new to all of
Quite
this business.
ambitious.
You know, you see all of those videos of people who gain in this kind of traction. They're like, oh, we just launched our brand, we became viral, and now we are like $5 million later.
By the way, sorry to cut, but being viral doesn't necessarily means that you will generate sales lead because it happened to me earlier this year. In the big month of January,
Mm-hmm.
one of my reels went viral and I was waiting for things to happen. Unfortunately, nothing happened, and all I got was views. That reel is still doing pretty good. I
Mm-hmm.
still get comments and views from that reel. I gained a couple of followers, but that's it. I don't know, like, what exactly going viral means, until and so more so because I don't have a product yet. I'm yet on the launch side,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe it didn't trickle down to sales, but once I have a product, I think situation might have been different. But in your case, did you go viral, or do you think at least that idea would have helped?
I think Adia, like it would have helped. I did some of my posts that performed really well
Mm.
since then. I think now I kind of understand better what exactly people are looking for and how to make sure that my product is understood and how to show it in the way that people would think it's a good product because it is an amazing product. I'm so proud of it,
Absolutely,
right?
it's your baby, right?
It's my baby. It's so beautiful. But I think now I understand it better. And now, of course, my videos are performing well. And yeah, some of my videos went pretty well, worked pretty well, and I did some sales and I did some sales through
Mm.
those videos. But I think if I started before, I think I would have gained a little bit more brand awareness by now.
Like building in public.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, building in public and even like, again, viral videos that would go, you always, dream that one day your video will go viral and you will be like all in the sales. And I know actually, I don't know, I think we also follow them. That there is this couple, they did a potty training mirror. So it's basically a mirror that helps
Oh, I
kids to
love
become,
them.
yeah,
Such an innovative product.
and they're so funny, right? They're
Yeah.
so funny, and it's a mirror basically that you place like on your lid, on your toilet lid, and it helps your child to see what's going on when they're like going to the potty and become independent. And their video actually went crazy viral. I think it's like over 100 millions of views. And they got lots of sales from that. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want.
Amazing.
But the problem with this marketing strategy, and again, this is not a marketing strategy, it's just a delusional strategy. When I hit the rock and I realized that none of my videos back then were going viral and like Kickstarter was not performing as I thought it should perform, I was stuck. I was stuck with ideas because basically I had plan A and my plan A wasn't working, and I was like, okay, what I'm going to do now?
Mm.
And it really brought me to like some spaces where I was not confident anymore in myself. I was not confident in my product anymore. I was like, oh, maybe no one needs it. Maybe I thought it was great product, but maybe people think it's just such a garbage and that's why it doesn't work. Like I was not prepared that yes, your videos may be like the algorithm of the social media, whether it's Instagram or TikTok, needs to be warmed up. You need to work on it, and before you start to kind of spread for to and be in front of the eyes of the people who need your product, you will have some time when you will not be seen, and before you will not be seen, you need to have strategy to make sure that you can put your product in front of them in a different way. If social media is not working, well, I should have had plan A, B, C, and D. How to make sure that parents who need potty training on bedwetting underwear, how to make sure that they see my videos behind or besides the social media. And this is something that I didn't have because, again, my marketing strategy was Kickstarter and social media. And I was like, okay, I didn't have it. Then I started to do like little markets where parents were not even present. So of course it didn't work. So yeah, I had some months where I was really like doubting a lot in my product. And I think until very pretty recently, until like few months ago when I started to do a lot of in-person events, especially with moms and in moms groups, and I started to have such a great feedback from like people coming, seeing that and saying, "Oh my God, this is something that I was looking for such a long time." Until then, I was like really I had a lot of doubts about my product and about my business in overall, which is very dark place to be because when you pour a lot of efforts and when you put a lot of like everything, right? I quit my job, I started this business and I was like, okay, what do I do? I'm going back to the corporate. Like if my product doesn't fly, I need to do something and what it is that I need to do. So yeah, it was not an easy, I think an easy way, but this is a screw up that I realized now that if you launch something and if you start a business, you need to have as many plans, marketing plans and marketing strategies as you can, because maybe one of the marketing strategy will work, maybe not. And if it doesn't work, you need to pivot very quickly towards the second plan and the third plan and the fourth plan until something hits and you will start to really gain awareness and be in front of the people that need your product.
This is really profound. In fact, I remember hearing one of the interviews of founder who founded a gummy brand,
Mm-hmm.
and she was telling that she thought her gummies are going to be hugely popular among kids, but it ended up being hugely popular among Gen Z, like high schoolers, and she was surprised, because she thought her ideal age group would be 0 to 8 because
Uh-huh.
those kids are really like like I would say pre kindergartens. Like my daughter is 5, she's
Mm.
really excited about gummies, she loves them. When she started checking her demographics of her sales, she was surprised to figure out that even the teens loved it. So yeah, like and she wasn't promoting to them, so that was her a new target
Yeah.
audience that she discovered. So going back, do you think like a product like yours, like a product category like yours, is it better to launch in person first and then go on social media, like digitally? Or would you like say to kind of have a balance between the two?
I think you still need social media, whether we like it or not, whether we're happy to be on social media or not, because it's such a huge marketplace and it's also it brings a lot of awareness towards your brand without you spending that much of the money on that. In person, I think the best way, of course, is in person because this way can really explain, you can show, you can like really demonstrate what is your product is made of and how it works. But the problem and the limits of in-person lunch is you're only limited to the room of the people who came to your lounge, right? It might be 5, 10, 50, but it will not go beyond a certain amount. While social media can give you much bigger outreach. So I think you should do both. You should really raise awareness around your brand in social media and also in person as well, and do lots of in-person events. For me, they work really great because I feel that when I show the product, people can touch it and can see like the quality of it that you cannot really demonstrate through the screen, and they it really wins them very quickly.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so this is like one of my this is my second screw up that I did. I think kind of not having aligned and very clear marketing can really slow down. You always can pivot, you always can adjust, but it can really slow down your brand progress. And my third screw up that I can think of, and again, I can have a list. Like I have a list. Lots of things happen in my brand because of course every day there is something happening and some errors that you discover. But I think the third thing that impacted me the most is packaging. And I know lots of people say, oh my God, this packaging is so cute. And indeed, it's so cute.
I love your packaging. That was the first thing even I
I
noticed.
remember you
Yeah, and I
complimented that.
complimented you. Yeah.
You complimented me on that. But the problem is not the cuteness. I think it's amazing shelf packaging. But now that I'm in e-commerce and I'm sending the products away, it's pretty bulky. So when I ship, like if I need to ship few underwear and then few pads, it's really start to add up. And of course, instead of like, having like maybe flat envelope for which you would pay certain amount, you have to like have a box, pretty bigger box. And the limits that I see in that, like as far as I'm concerned, I can do it. It's no problem. But once I start to outsource it, because at one point the business will grow and I will need to outsource it either to Amazon or to some other company, and they charge you by volume of your packaging, and this will impact the price that I will have to pay them for the fulfillment and for shipping, because at one point I will be on Amazon. We are not yet there, but at one point the product will be there. And the bulkier the product is, of course, the higher price you pay. And I realized that I can have like a really slim packaging with my product, but my current packaging actually make it bulkier. So if I outsource it now, I think I will like really cut out my margins by a lot. I started to estimate it, and I like at least $8 per item will be.
That's
Yeah,
huge.
because of the sizing how they are, because it's like a box, it's like a rectangle or square one, and it's pretty like thick. So yeah, and this is the things that I realized after, and that impacts me now. So I'm currently rethinking the ways how to optimize the packaging a little bit more to make sure that it's still cute, it's still fun, and
It's functional.
but it's at least it is functional for the shipping purposes.
Absolutely.
So, and I know that you had some issues with packaging as well. I think it's a struggle with everyone.
Oh my God. I think I have a mountain of failures slash regrets slash things I want to do again. But if I have to like point out three in that direction, definitely I'm going to start with packaging. So it's interesting, like, when I started out, everybody used to just come and say, oh, just hire a graphic designer or a designer like from Fiverr or Upwork and 99 Designs. And I was like, yeah, that's my place to go and look for designers. And so I went there, and I went on 99 Designs, I went on Fiverr. And once you kind of, you go, and there is an option, you can see the profile, their past packaging that they have designed for different brands. And I specifically looked for a designer who has worked with skincare brands, because that's what I was aiming to launch. And they look great. Like, I found a designer on 99 Designs. I think he was based in Peru, and his designs looked amazing on papers. And, I hired him. And first of all, he was traveling. When I got him on
Mm-hmm.
board, he was traveling for almost a month. So he picked up like my assignment after he came back from his vacation. So there was a month delay in that. And
Oh,
then
which is so annoying,
which
right?
is so annoying. I was like, but once you know that you have hired a good designer, you
Mm,
you wait, you feel that something really wonderful is going to come out of it.
yeah.
And I wish it did. Unfortunately, it didn't, because when I explained the concept to him, and we went back and forth quite a number of times. And the rendition that he gave me, like the first mock-ups that he gave me, it was, I would say, completely different what I had imagined and how I wanted my packaging to look
Mm,
like. So I thought maybe this is something that, it happened. It was one of a case. I did the same exercise with another designer on Fiverr, and the result was not that great. Again, it didn't meet my packaging and branding expectations.
mm,
So I realized early on that packaging and branding is one of the first touch points for your consumer. Like, there are different touch points for your consumers. Like, we have different senses. It's vision, of course, it's eyes, because your
mm-hmm.
consumer sees your product first, then it's taste. If it's a food brand, then it's a smell. Like, different touch points, pretty much similar to our senses, five senses. And I thought, packaging is obviously the first touch point, and I wanted to nail it down. And
Mm,
I imagined, like, if you are in a Whole Foods, like, and there is shelf and 10 products are sitting on that shelf, and you imagine your product to be there. Obviously, I want my product to stand out among those 10
mm-hmm.
products. And how do you achieve that? Even if it comes at a higher cost, I am willing to pay that price, because that is the first touch point of my customer, and I want to captivate them in that first touch point
Which is a
itself.
smart move.
So I thought this is something that I didn't plan for when I started my budget for the business.
Mm-hmm.
But as as I realized the importance of it, I kind of went back and added that to my, budget, because I thought maybe I can, like, squeeze in something else somewhere. But
Mm-hmm.
this is I something I don't need to compromise on. And I will hire a branding agency who would work on my, product, because I was pretty, I would say, nosy about how it looked, and I had a certain vision in
Mm-hmm.
my head, and I wanted somebody to encapsulate that and give me, in a product form. So I think packaging, burning hands with, these platforms. I'm not saying that they are not the good platforms to hire talent. They are wonderful platform. In fact, all of my other side, projects, I go and work and hire a lot of people from there, because it's quick and easy, and they all deliver, within your time frame. But I mean, sometimes it just doesn't, work. So
I felt that, I had a very good experience with Fiverr for packaging. Actually, I did my packaging on Fiverr, but I felt that when you do your packaging on Fiverr, you need to have a very clear vision of what exactly you want. It's not a platform where they would create a packaging or branding from the scratch. You need to come and say, okay, here you need to place this here you need to place this text goes here. And even though you would say all of the things, like you would still have mishaps. So I totally understand when you like come with a concept and you think you would expect them to like come up with ideas, it might be really challenging to find your like rare pearl, as we can say, or like you're the person that would do amazing design. If you come with a clear mind, these platforms can be really useful if you have like idea of what exactly you would love to have.
absolutely. In fact, with my other brand, ProBitesco, which I recently launched with my mom, I went on
Love that.
Fiverr. Yeah,
Serial
more
entrepreneur.
to come. So yeah, so in fact, I had a completely different experience with that. I just went to Fiverr, hired some guy, and I gave him a couple of inspiration from Pinterest, and he was able to replicate that pretty well. And that's the packaging I used. And
And it's very cute
it's
packaging. I've
nice
seen it.
package. It's functional packaging. And now we are working on a second packaging, because we want to transition from the jars to the sachets,
Hmm.
because again, it's more functional. final to ship to the customers. So that's why, so I think realizing early on that when you have a very strong concept, if you need to hire a design agency to work on it, it may come in expensive, but always think from the long perspective. And, I think if I would have straight away gone to the agency, it would have saved me, a couple of hundreds of dollars,
Mm,
and also,
some time.
time is essentially money. So
Mm-hmm.
it would have saved me that. So yeah, I think that packaging is one thing definitely I had to kind of I had to kind of fix it. Another thing which is my biggest regret is also not regret, but also a big learning is my formulation. Not getting the samples from the manufacturers before getting into a contract. And I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of it that you can ask for samples from the manufacturers
Mm.
before you commit to them. I straight away went into a contract with two manufacturers, two formulators, and both of the formulations were disastrous. It wasted time, it wasted money, and I kind of regret doing that. It's not that I didn't vet them, like, I visited, I spoke to them couple of times. In fact, one of them was local in Florida. I drove all the way. I had a meeting with them. I, sat and kind of explained what my product vision is, what are the things I would like in my
Mm-hmm.
formulation. But the thing is, it's a gamble, right? You may have an idea. It's not necessary the other person would exactly replicate what's in your head. So I think, and I got to know this pretty later, like, when I had kind of burned my hands with it. So in skincare, if you are looking to get your formulation done from a manufacturer or in a lab, you can upfront ask for samples. You can give them like a small brief. This is what I'm looking for,
Mm-hmm.
and the lab will curate a sample for you. You can like it or you can not like it, and you can ask them to make specific changes. And even if, the lab, even if they are able to make a samples something closer to what you have envisioned,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the lab that you should go for. So that, I think that is
It's very
something.
useful to know because I'm sure that lots of entrepreneurs, as you, burn their hands without knowing that they have this opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I wish somebody had told me
Yeah,
sooner.
I imagine.
Exactly. That would have saved me, going the wrong way. But yeah, definitely asking for samples from my manufacturers before committing to it. I think that is one of my second regrets.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the third regret is, I'm sure most of the founders have the same one, underestimating the timeline. Like,
Oh,
I
yes.
thought
Oh, yes.
I thought like I would be able to launch within 6 months or 8 months, and it's been 1.5 years. I have not been able to launch. I'm glad, like, and it takes grit, to kind of building in the dark because your product is still kind of building.
And a lot of resilience as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, resilience is your second name.
True. True.
Yeah, but yeah, building in the dark, that's what I call it, because I thought, I'll be launching it in 6 to 8 months and we'll be on Amazon and we'll be flying off from shelves, like you said,
Uh-huh.
but it's not like that. It's been 1.5 year. I'm still building my brand. I'm still working on my product. And, it takes time. Marketing is a huge aspect of it, which I underestimated. Like, I was blindsided by it. I thought, I'll just hire a marketing agency and they will do their work. It doesn't happen like that. You have to start marketing even before your brand is launched. Like
Absolutely.
me, like, my brand is nowhere to be, physically present right now, but still I'm kind of, creating awareness about it. And like you said, building in public, I feel that, building in public plus also learning in public, people appreciate when you learn in public. For me, the way I viewed it was that I'm going to learn in public, I'm going to show people that it's okay to commit mistakes. And the reason why I'm not scared or, like, I'm not kind of afraid to accept and admit what are my mistakes and what I have been doing for past 1.5 years, because I'm also learning.
Mm,
I'm not a serial entrepreneur. I'm a first time entrepreneur, like first time mom. And I have these ups and downs and these mistakes that I have done over my journey. And I'm also learning and evolving, and every day making trying to make things better every day. So I think learning and building in public is really important. And marketing, that is what people want to see. That people do not want to see perfectly product perfectly written copies of your product or pictured copies of your product. They want to see how much you have evolved as a person, because that reflects in your brand also.
for sure.
So I think these are a couple of things that I
And
really.
this you cannot outsource. This is something that needs to come from you
Yeah,
authentically and
yeah.
not from an agency. So
I
I,
mean, agency also, if you hire, you have to tell them like what you want, in
they're
which direction they
expensive.
should steer your brand
And they're
into.
expensive. Like oftentimes they ask you upfront fee and then you have to also like a percentage of whatever you're
And
doing,
then a
which is
retainer, like on every
yeah,
month basis. Yeah, so yeah, definitely, I think so. These are the three things that are kind of something that I wish I had done sooner.
yeah.
I would have done in a different way. And I would have kind of that would have changed the trajectory of my business, of my journey. But I think we all grow and evolve, and this is also one thing that has that takes a due course to evolve.
I think it's part of the entrepreneurship journey. And, you know, there is expression, whatever doesn't kill us, make us even better.
Absolutely.
So I know that me now is not the same person as me a year ago because
Mm.
everything that I learned through errors, through tryouts, but without tryout, like without doing things, you cannot commit errors. And people actually who do things, they commit errors. And making mistakes is normal, and it also like life kind of tests how you you get out of this mistake, how you react to this mistake, and your capacity to like thrive after that, like say okay, I did mistake, I was wrong, let me see how I correct it and not repeating that. And this is, I think, the capacity to respond properly to your mistake, whether it's small or big, is what makes difference between good entrepreneur and also good business and bad business, and what can make your business fly or scratch your business at all, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, I believe that you cannot give up at any given point of time.
Yeah.
Like in business and in life, curveballs after curveballs would be thrown at you. And you just need to kind of, keep moving and just
Yeah.
ignore those curveballs basically. Like earlier this week, so I got a mail from my manufacturer, like whom
Uh-huh.
I was about to kind of finalize. And I met this guy at Cosmoprof Miami recently. And I mean, we had an amazing, amazing conversation. And I was so glad to meet him in person because they're based in Phoenix. And I thought it's completely serendipity that they were flying to, Miami, and we were able to meet
Mm-hmm.
in person and everything after numerous phone calls and Zoom meetings. And we were almost on the verge of finalizing. Then I get a mail from him saying that the leadership is kind of little reluctant to work with us, although we were like paying upfront entirely for the order. And
Mm-hmm.
we had kind of shown the financials and substantiated that with I mean with statements and copies of our bank statements and everything. And I was like little taken aback, surprised by that. So, and he asked me that, if I've tried to convince them and they are still kind of deliberating the decision, if there is anything at all that you can help to make their decision.
Uh-huh.
So basically what I did was I wrote like a deck, I made a deck, and I highlighted 4 points basically what I have been doing and why they should work with us.
Mm-hmm.
So First was about our marketing and branding. I, gave them a mood board and some mock-ups of what we have been cooking with our
Mm-hmm.
branding agency. So there were three different mood boards and, three different mock-ups, which they absolutely loved. I attached that mood board and few mock-ups. Second is I kind of told them, I kind of gave them like proofs of our statement saying bank statements, saying that, this is what we have, like, this much is something that we are securely funded and privately securely funded. We are bootstrapping, I know, but this is intentional because we want to kind of, build the brand and not give the ownership right away
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning itself. So I think that was something which needed to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Thirdly, I kind of pointed out that, how we kind of, this is not the only product we want to launch. We have a bigger vision for the
The
brand
company.
and we want to launch several products under this brand. We are
Mm-hmm.
building a brand, we are not just building a product. So it is very important for them to understand and look at the broader picture. And of course, fourth, I said that I am ready to jump on a plane, on a call, if that helps. Like, you tell me that you have to be present tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the office. I'm willing to do that.
It's
Just
crazy.
let me know when and where.
Usually, this is something that you would do in front of the VC when they would
VC.
invest in your company, not when
Exactly.
like you paying to manufacturer everything up front, which is crazy.
I mean, yes, this happened. Never ever in my
Mm-hmm.
wildest dreams I imagined that I will have to pitch to a
To
manufacturer
whom you will pay
to
money.
whom I'm willing to pay money upfront in advance for all of the complete order. And it is what it is. Like
Yeah.
like I've said,
Yeah.
life will throw curveballs. You do not need to fear or get intimidated. And that's what I did. I thought, okay, let me know if I have to come and give you this deck. Personally, I would be able to do
Yeah.
that.
No, you
And
did right.
they were pretty, like, I sent that to the contact person and he wrote me back saying, that is phenomenal. And I have already sent that to the leadership and I'm waiting for them to review and I'll keep you
Fingers
posted. So
crossed.
fingers crossed. And this is my plan A. And if this doesn't work, I also have another manufacturer who's my plan B, not my most preferred,
Uh-huh.
manufacturer because of the pricing and other factors, but I have a plan B too. And if not, I will create plan C.
So
So
you learn from your errors with the first
exactly.
one, and now you know how to respond in these kind of
Yes, yes.
situations.
And I wasn't this person before, I
Uh-huh.
would just give up and I would, wallow in my misery. But because this resilience, has come from kind of, 1.5 years of building and working my
Mm.
own product, my own business. So I think, things happen. You just need to move on. You just need to adapt. And, there are things you and I are talking about, I wish we could do differently. But trust me, there are a lot of things that you cannot do differently because they were not in your control. Like, I wouldn't have
Exactly.
imagined to
Yes.
pitch to my, manufacturer, but
Manufacturer.
here am I doing it
Yeah.
because it was required, it was need of the hour. So
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to adapt and flexible, be flexible. I think adaptability and flexibility is what all that matters. We wish things were could be done in a different way, but trust me, they couldn't be because that's how they were
Absolutely.
supposed to
And not
be.
taken personally neither. This is one of the
Absolutely.
things that I've
Yeah, yeah.
learned. Nothing is personal. You got a bad review, it's fine. Atlantic Ocean has 3.9 rating because someone that said that it was not up to their
Their
expectations.
expectations,
And
yeah.
it's fine. Even if Atlantic Ocean has a bad reviews, your product can also have bad reviews, right?
Absolutely. The singer who won a Grammy this year and who performed also Ordinary, I'm forgetting his name. So I saw his interview, and one of the interviews, he posted that song almost like 300 times on internet, on different channels, on
Uh-huh.
different times. He was so convinced that that song would be picked up. He believed in that song so much. And he said that, if you like something, you will find people, similar people who also like the same thing as
Yeah.
you do. It's just a matter of time. And I felt so connected to that line of his, like to that
Mm.
saying, because you just need to keep on throwing that,
Yeah. You will
into
find your
and
audience.
find your audience. That's it. You will find it. It's just a matter of time, I think. And that's what, entrepreneurship is all about.
It is so crazy, 300 times. He was
He
he
was
was
resilient.
he was
Yeah.
resilient.
He was
A lot of
resilient.
admiration towards this person.
Absolutely. That was an insightful conversation. I think we covered a lot of screw ups and
True.
things we could have done, wished we could have done differently, but we couldn't. So let's wrap it up, Elena. Are there any lowlights or highlights of the week of your past week that you would like to say?
For the highlights, well, one of the highlights actually that was funny, I did last week, first podcast for moms about potty training with a potty training consultant. And it is something that I've dreamed to launch from the very beginning, but I didn't really have finances for. And now, like, as the brand start to grow a little bit, I finally can do that. And I was thinking doing that as a start of this support group, for the support community, for the moms, for the parents, the caregivers to come to when they have struggled with potty training. And it went really well. It was a live, well, we had some mishaps on the technical side, which went very well. And I had great feedback, moms writing, thinking, saying that they're very thankful for this opportunity, that they will definitely connect for the next one if it's still relevant for them. And I'm very proud, like, on doing that, because I feel that we need, we talk a lot about the village that we need, and we need sometimes the village. And some moms, they just kind of lost, especially with potty train, which is very daunting and it's very time consuming and nerve wracking moment in our lives. It is. And giving them this support, giving them this free resource that they can rely on really like uplifts me. And I would love to do more. And I would love to do more of these kind of sessions and probably like something bigger in a future course. But it was just the beginning of creating this small community. And yeah, it was my highlight of the week. I was really proud to do that like I was really proud to do that last week.
Any lowlights?
Lowlights, I forgot about my daughter's gymnastics. So
Okay.
I didn't bring her to gymnastics last week also. I think I was just so excited about my podcast that I forgot about that. She was a little bit mad at me, but not that much. She was resilient. She was like, okay, mom, I understand. So yeah, mom's life, you always juggling between so many things that you forgot about things.
Yeah,
What about
absolutely.
you?
I think I had two highlights that I would like to talk about. Touchwood, no low lights except the pitch deck, but I see that also a highlight. First of all, I launched my mom's. I co-launched a business with my
Mm-hmm.
mom. It's called Pro Bites. It's like a healthy snacking brand. My mom has been building that, like making those protein balls for almost as long as I remember when I was a kid. And that's the only thing I ask somebody to get it when they're coming from
Uh-huh.
India. And even if somebody is not coming, I ask my mom to courier it. And, those are so good. And I think I finally, like, over the last 6 months, we have been working together to kind of finally launch it. And we were able to do it last week. Well, not last week, but couple of weeks
Congrats
back.
on the
It's been a
launch.
long journey, especially navigating and working with your baby boomer mom is not the best thing while navigating your other business. But yeah, I'm so glad the product looks phenomenal. We worked a great deal on the packaging, on how the product is going to look like, how it's going to be shipped and everything. And especially me working from here and kind of working and establishing the channels there in India. It was pretty iconic. I would say iconic in a sense because I learned a great deal from it. And thankfully, the world, because of AI and
Uh-huh.
all the things and tools, fabulous tools that you have in available right now, it is completely possible. So it's a
Thank you,
beautiful,
ChatGPT, for existing, right?
yeah, thank chat gpt and so many amazing
I
tools
know.
for existing. So we were finally able to launch it, and I think that is one of the biggest highlight of
Congrats.
the year.
Congrats.
Thank
This
you.
is for your launch of the brand with your mom.
Thank you.
And I
Thank
hope that
you.
soon we will have it in US.
Yes, yes, I am in fact working on establishing the lines to, like, get it delivered here. This is what I'm working on. So yeah, lots to come on that front. And secondly, which is a little personal, so my daughter got selected into the gifted program from her school. Her teacher
Oh,
nominated it.
little genius.
Yes, and I was so happy. I don't know about Genius, but me and my husband, we were
Yeah.
very happy because as a parent, when you see
Yeah,
that,
of
your
course.
little kids flourishing and doing well and thriving,
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest joy in your life that you could ever experience. So I think those are the two highlights, that I'm gonna cherish for quite some time.
I like the highlights. They're really powerful.
Yeah, yeah.
Both of them are very powerful. And congrats on both highlights.
Thank you. You're too sweet. Well, that brings us for the product spotlight, Alina.
Yes, let me wrap it. So today we wanted spotlight this amazing mompreneur. So I met her through Instagram. I actually started to follow her brand,
I
and then
follow
I
them too, and they're amazing.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
bought the product and I really like it. And she had this idea of it's called Bonobo Baby Bidet, and she had this idea of baby bidet where you just would put some water inside, and then whenever you need to use it for your little one, either with water wipes, because water wipes on their own they don't really wash that good, or even like I'm using that for kids in the park, when they're like all dirty, you
Mm.
just spray it a little bit and then you just take any wipes, even if they're dry, you don't need water wipes, like any towel would do, and it will just wash.
It's zero waste. It doesn't generate any waste as compared to
Exactly.
wipes.
And it's very handy
It's
because
very handy. I
what I
love the
like,
cute packaging.
packaging is
Yeah,
amazing.
it's
And what I
amazing.
like is that you can attach it to the water wipes, or I'm just attaching it
Water
to my
wipes,
bag.
diaper bags, school
Yeah,
bags, like
exactly.
anywhere. It's essentially like a water, like, on the go, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, even the kids can carry to their school bags.
And
And
what I like that you don't have to buy hundreds of them.
you can refill it.
Like you have one bottle, you can
Yeah,
refill it as you want, and
yeah.
it's just a much better version of water wipes, I think. And it's very
Handy.
handy and cute.
Absolute genius, I would say. Absolute
I
genius.
agree. So
Only a mom would think that.
Laura Palmer from Bonobo Day, bravo on this product.
Yeah, I love it. No, I love got introduced to this product through you and I loved it. I think the concept is
Mm,
amazing and it's such a handy product and
it
I think only a
is.
mom would think of it.
And it's done by a mom. She
Yeah,
like bootstrapped it from the very beginning. I'm so proud of where she is now. Even though I don't know her
absolutely.
personally, I know only her through Instagram, but I always feel a lot of like mompreneurs
Empowerment. Yes,
vibes.
absolutely.
So
Well, that brings to the end of our yet another exciting episode, Alina. And thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to catching you in the next episode. Be well, smile, and don't ever give up.
and remember to drink chai and champagne.
Yes, sometimes.
Cheers.
Cheers.